of these three young men tends sheep for the Kansas City Athletics baseball team. What is your name, please?
My name is George Anderson.
My name is George Anderson.
My name is George Anderson.
Only one of these men is the real George Anderson. The other two are imposters and will try to fool this panel. Tom Poston, Betty White, Orson Bean, and Kitty Carlisle. On to Tell the Truth with your host, Bud Collier.
Thank you very much. Welcome once again to Tell the Truth. Brought to you this week by Dristan Nasal Mist, the decongestant nasal spray for relief in seconds from sinus congestion and head cold's distress. Dristan Nasal Mist. Good evening.
God bless you.
Bless you, panel. And good evening.
Pass a little that over here, will you?
All right, I'm sure you're ready and waiting, so open up that first envelope, if you will, and follow along with me. I, George Anderson, am a high school student. However, I have been in uniform for every home game of the Kansas City Athletics for the past 2 years. I don't play baseball. I'm shepherd in charge of 7 sheep who, while the game is in progress, walk back and forth eating the grass on a steep embankment just beyond the outfield fence. Besides my duties as shepherd, I am also bell ringer. I ring a large bell for every Kansas City home run. I also ring the bell for 5 minutes after each hometown victory. Because of the traditional shepherd's costume I wear, the Kansas City baseball fans refer to me as Lawrence of Arabia. Signed, George Anderson. These 3 young men all claim to be George Anderson, baseball shepherd. Let's start the questioning with our expert on farming and sports, Kitty Carlisle. Kitty?
Number 2, what is a tag?
That's where the fielder touches the baseball player as a runner.
Number 3, what is a tag on a sheep?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
You don't know? No. Number 1, what is Lawrence of Arabia's real name?
Peter O'Toole.
Number 2, how much grass can one sheep eat in one sitting, so to speak, or standing, or moving around?
Grazing.
Grazing.
I wouldn't know the exact measurement, but it does clip the grass pretty close.
They what?
They
keep
clip the grass pretty close, yes.
Thank you.
Tom Poston.
Thank you, Bud. Number 1, what does Finley's porch mean?
Well, that's his, they call it the pennant porch, and that's a group of bleachers between the right field and the actual area where the sheep graze.
Thank you. Number 2, what is Lopat's nickname?
I forget the exact name, but it's something to do with, he had a lot of junk ball pitches when he was a player.
Number 3, do you know any other nickname for Lopat?
No, I don't know his name.
Do you know his name?
Ed.
Where is he now? Do you know number 3?
He's still working for the Athletics.
Oh, great. Number 2.
Betty.
That was a good question. I think for a high school boy, you must take a pretty good course in beard growing. It's the oldest-looking high school fellow I ever saw. Number 1, where does Kansas City stand in the Major League standings now?
Well, as of now, I believe they're in 9th place.
Number 2, how many games out are they?
14.
Number 1, who's your best pitcher?
I'd say our best pitcher is old Johnny Wyatt.
Johnny Wyatt. Number 2, how many boy sheep and how many girl sheep?
Who cares?
3 and 4.
3 and 4 what?
Yeah, well, there's 3 boy and 3 girl. 4 girl, I'm sorry.
2 girls, is that?
That's what you say. All right.
Orson Bean.
Number 3, why do you have a flock of sheep? Why? Is it too cheap to buy a lawnmower? Or why do the Kansas City Athletics keep sheep?
Mostly for show.
For show what? Who wants to see sheep? I mean, I'm not against sheep, but why?
Well, have you ever gone to a ball game and seen any sheep looking at you?
No.
Well,
I hadn't thought of it that way. That's Number 1, the Bar B Wine Spar Ranch is a famous... do you know where this is in Kansas?
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
Sheep number 2? No. Nobody knows. Number 3. Now, how many sheep in a flock? Number 2. What? How?
Oh, yeah.
Is 7 sheep a flock of sheep?
I wouldn't know. How many?
A gaggle of sheep, perhaps. How many? I really know all I want to know.
All right, that's all we have time for. It's time now to vote. Mark your ballots, if you will, please.
I was waiting for Kitty to ask more questions about baseball.
No consultation permitted. Just vote now, please. Voting for number 1, number 2, or number 3. And our team of challengers will get $250 for every incorrect vote.
Oh, gee.
Oh, mercy. Oh.
Are all ballots wine-sparred? All marked. All right. Tom, for whom did you vote?
Honestly, I didn't know who for whom to vote. I voted for number 2 because Lopat used to be called the junk man, and he answered that, so I voted.
Betty.
I don't know why Orson should be so surprised about a sheep herd. They have a goose girl in California. You know, that's better than sheep or better than that. On the strength of your question about Finley's porch, I voted for number 1.
Well, I'll change with you. I don't care.
A goose girl in connection with what?
With, I think it's Hollywood Park horse racing out there. That's more logical.
Of course. I've heard a lot of things about Hollywood, but a goose girl. I voted on the basis of Tom's ridiculous question about a Finley porch. I voted for number 1. I don't know. He answered.
Kitty Carlisle.
I voted for number 3. Because number 2's beard's falling off. And I don't know if he wears a beard when he's being a shepherd. I presume he does. And if he does, it should stick on better than that. And number 1 looks a little old to be a high school student behind his long beard. So I voted for number 3. He looks very serious. He takes this whole thing very seriously.
Very well. That makes 1 for number 2, 2 for number 1, 1 for number 3. And we'll find out immediately, with your minds all made up, which one of these young men is, in truth, the baseball shepherd. Will the real George Anderson please stand up? Thank you very much. Number 1, what is your real name and what do you really do?
My name is Steve Presser, and I'm a lifeguard at Park Lawn Swimming Pool in Alexandria, Virginia.
And number 2, what is your real name and what do you do?
My name is Don Kohler, and I'm a grocery clerk at Safeway Food Stores in Scottsbluff, Nebraska.
Well, gentlemen, in checking the score, you can pride yourselves on having done very well, believe me, because there were 1, 2, 3 incorrect votes, and that's 3 times $250, or $750 for you to divide. That comes to you from Dristan, as does a gift package of all the fine products from the makers of Dristan. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope you had as good a time as you brought to us. Good night, and God bless you. Present our next team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Adrian L. Lonsdale.
My name is Adrian L. Lonsdale.
My name is Adrian L. Lonsdale.
Please follow along as I read this story to you. I, Adrian L. Lonsdale, am an officer in the United States Coast Guard and co-author of a new book called A Guide to Sunken Ships in American Waters. The book gives the latitude and longitude of most of the major shipwrecks of the past 400 years, such as that of the Republic, which sank off Nantucket in 1909 with 3 million in gold coins aboard. In the year 1595, the Spanish galleon Santa Margarita went to the bottom off what is now Palm Beach, carrying with it some $3 million in gold bullion. The book tells how to get charts of the wreck areas and discusses briefly the legal rights of salvagers. It covers more than 1,100 shipwrecks which still hold billions in cargo and treasure just waiting to be found and claimed. Signed, Adrian L. Lonsdale. Panel these three gentlemen all claim to be Adrian L. Lonsdale, authority on sunken ships, as you heard me say. Let's start the cross-examination this time with Tom Poston. Tom?
Thank you, Bud. I'd like to ask number 3 if he knows the name of the coach at the United States Coast Guard Academy.
Otto Graham.
The great Otto Graham. He was on our show one day.
Very well.
Number 2, do you know of a sunken pay ship in the New York area?
Well, yes, the Andrea Doria went down about 200 miles east of New York. There are a number of them around Long Island, one near Huntington.
Thank you. Number 1, is there one right in the New York municipal area itself?
There are several in the New York area, a couple in the East River.
What was the one in the East River that I know about that you might
Well,
be
it
able
was
to...
either the Lexington or the Hussar.
Number 3, which of those was the Revolutionary times?
I'm afraid I don't know.
Do you know number 2?
The Lexington.
And what happened there? Do you remember?
Betty White.
Do you remember number 2?
Do I remember what?
What happened where he said?
Ship was sunk.
Number 1, how did you get interested in sunken ships?
Well, from a great demand I noticed where I worked and in other government agencies from people who wanted information about sunken ships.
Number 2, have you ever done any diving for treasure on your own?
Absolutely not.
You sound as though you don't believe in it.
Well, that takes a hard hat diver.
Number 3, have you ever done any diving for treasure?
Not for treasure.
Number 1, does it always take a hard hat diver?
I don't think so.
I wish you were sure. Number 3, do you think so?
For safety's sake.
Orson Bean.
Number 3, what is gold bullion as opposed to gold coins?
It's the form that the gold may be in. Bullion is generally in bars.
I see. Number 1, in the late 19th century, the disaster of the Great Flying Wallaby, which ocean did that occur in?
I don't know.
Number 2, the Flying Wallaby?
Never heard of the ship.
You guys are not up on... Number 3, is there a Coast Guard station on Fire Island?
Yes, there is.
There is. Well, what do they do out there? I mean, how do they while away the long? There ain't too many wrecks out Fire Island. An occasional.
They're there to handle any disaster that may come up.
Oh. Number 1, what could go down in the...
Number 2, what is barratry?
Barratry?
Yeah.
Piracy.
Barratry is piracy. Number 3, what is a doubloon?
That is a Spanish coin.
Thank you. Number 1, what is the name of the Coast Guard training ship, the sailboat that just left the New
Eagle.
London? The Eagle? Thank you. Number 2, whatever happened to the Mary Celeste?
The Mary Celeste?
Yes.
No one ever found out. It
Thank you.
disappeared.
Number 3, who claims the bullion when it's found? To whom does it belong?
The salver, subject to the ruling of Admiralty Court.
Oh, it belongs to the person who finds it.
Subject to the decision of Admiralty Court.
Thank you. Number 1, how much bullion has been found thanks to your book?
Gee, I don't know, because people that find it don't talk about it.
Number 2, is it all in deep waters?
Not necessarily. Some of it is in 50 to 60 fathoms, 50 to 60 feet.
Where?
Oh, get your hard hat and go after it. That's all we have time for. But it's time for you now to mark your ballots. So if you will, please, mark them at once. Without change, no consultation, and simply vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3. All ballots marked?
No, I can't.
No?
I can't. Too awful.
It's the time you wish Irving Weinspar was here to help you, don't you? All right, they're all marked now. And, Tom, for whom did you vote?
I voted for number 1. I don't know why.
Betty, which one do you think it is?
Well, I think it's number 2 on the strength of the hard hat diving. I think the way he referred to that, and also on the strength of never finding the Mary Celeste. I think it's number 2.
Orson.
Yes, I voted for number 2 as well, because he said that barratry is piratry. That sounds good.
Not true.
Isn't it true?
Where were you when we needed you?
All right, Kitty.
I voted for number 1. It may well be number 3, because he looks like a very serious-minded gentleman who would write a book like that. But number 2 said parrotry was...
That's when you
right.
steal
It isn't.
parrots.
No, it has something to do with naval law. That I'm almost sure of. Well, maybe he's right. Anyway, number one looks like the kind of an adventurous fellow who would like this sort of a thing.
So that splits it down the middle. There are 2 for number 1, 2 for number 2. Let's find out now which one of these gentlemen, in truth, is the authority on sunken ships. So will the real Adrian L. Lonsdale please stand up? Have you had much reaction to this book so far?
It's only been out a few weeks, and it's kind of hard to tell at this stage.
I expect there'll be the fortune hunters out there and nothing flat.
I hope so.
Good luck to you with it. Number 2, what is your real name and what do you really do, sir?
My name is Ross Pillion, and I write publicity for Adelphi Suffolk College.
And number 3, what is your real name and what do you do?
My name is Jim Martin, and I'm sales manager for Sandvik Steel.
When we check the score, we find that there were 2 incorrect votes, and that's good fooling. That means twice $250 or $500 coming your way, gentlemen, and may it bring you much happiness. Thanks for joining us. It comes to you from Dristan, as does a gift package of all of the fine products on your way out. Thank you again. Good night, and God bless you. Let's meet our third team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Alice King Chatham.
My name is Alice King Chatham.
My name is Alice King Chatham.
Again, panel, will you follow along with your copies of this? I, Alice King Chatham, use my training as a sculptress to aid the United States space program. I have cast in wax the heads of the 7 Mercury astronauts. These models were used to design for each man a perfect fitting helmet liner. Most of my work has been with animals. I have designed oxygen equipment for a group of guinea pigs and an oxygen mask for a 140-pound St. Bernard dog. I also designed the flight suit and helmet for the first monkey ever shot into space. Signed, Alice King Chatham. We bring you 3 ladies, all claiming to be Alice King Chatham, space sculptress, I guess you might call her. We'll start with our space sculptor, Orson Bean.
Yes, I'll just make a little something in this space here. Number 3, why did the big dog need an oxygen mask? The St. Bernard. Was he going to rescue people in the high Alps? Why is the air thin? Just interrupt me whenever you feel like it.
I'm fascinated. He was being dropped in a parachute.
Ooh, did he want to go?
26,000 feet.
Did you ask him first, or why was he being dropped?
To test the parachute mechanism, to test the effect of the shock when the parachute opens.
Oh, mercy. Well, it's not a bad job.
Kitty Carlisle.
Number 2, what is an armature?
An armature is the base and the skeleton of the sculpture.
Thank you. Number 1, what was the monkey's name that went into space?
I don't think the monkey had a name.
Oh, number 3, didn't he have a name?
Not in the lab. The newspapers gave it a name.
Newspapers. What did they call him?
Arabella.
Oh, that's not what I thought. Oh, well. I thought it was another one. What's phrenology, number 2?
I don't know.
You know number 1? What is phrenology?
No, I don't.
Huh?
No, I don't.
Number 3, what's phrenology?
Bumps on the science of reading the bumps on your head.
Thank you.
Tom.
Speaking of
Thank
which.
you. Number 2, how do you ensure a fit on the hairy face of an animal, or a human for that matter? But how do you ensure a close fit for air tightness and so forth?
Well, a close fit is not all that essential for the type of experiment.
It is an oxygen mask. Number 1, what kind of masks are these that you work on mostly?
For animals?
Well, what kind of masks do you work on? I'll put it that way.
Oxygen mask, not pressure breathing usually.
Pardon me?
Not pressure breathing mask usually for animals.
Thank you. Number 3.
Betty White.
Thank you, Bud. Number 3, when you were making the mask, the oxygen mask for the St. Bernard, first of all, what are dewlaps? They're, them are dewlaps. Well, how did you handle them? Did they conflict with the oxygen mask at all? No. How did the oxygen mask fit on the dog's head, number 2?
It fit very well.
Thank you. Goodbye. Number 1, which was the astronaut of the 7 who was ruled out of flight?
Slayton.
Thank you.
And that's all the time we have. It's time for you now to take your dewlaps in hand and mark your ballaps, if you will, please. Mark your ballots at once without change, and of course, no consultation. Vote, please, for number 1, number 2, or number 3. All ballots marked? There they go with Tom. Tom, for whom did you vote?
I don't know why she didn't know that phrenology was the science of the study of the bumps on the head or something, but I voted for number 2. I figured that I'd just as soon get waxed with her if I was going to have to.
Betty!
I can't tell that reason. I voted for number 3 because phrenology is the study of the bumps on all our heads, and dewlaps are.
Yes, indeed they are. Orson.
Those are called wapples.
If you're a chicken.
If you're a chicken.
If you're a chicken, you don't
We don't have many chicken
I voted for...
astronauts.
We ought to send up a chicken. It'd be fun. A whole crate of chickens floating around the world. Wouldn't it be funny? I send them over Russia and open the crate.
Dropping eggs every so often.
Yeah. Well, number 3 gets my vote because of that touching story about the poor big dog.
And Kitty.
I voted for number 3 because she did know about phrenology, and I think anyone who deals with head things. I'd also like to know if that poor St. Bernard survived the jump. And also, the fact that she didn't know, she couldn't say exactly where the dewlaps were. It's like a spiral staircase. You got it to go this way. So I accept dewlaps going that way.
You do.
That's the best story I ever heard.
All right, there we have it with the votes in and the minds fascinatingly made up. Let's find out which of these 3 ladies is, in truth, the sculptress who has become a space sculptress. Will the real Alice King Chatham please stand up? You should feel very good about that. Incidentally, Mrs. Chatham works in the biotechnology department of Douglas Aircraft at Santa Monica, California. That's out your original way, isn't it?
Yes, it is. You see how it helped me.
Yes, indeed. Number 2, what is your real name and what do you really do?
My name is Minnie Mayer, and I work in the travel department of the Ford Foundation.
And number, what is your real name and what do you really do?
Not dewlap. It's Pat Foley, and I lecture to women's groups about the use of Clorox bleach.
Well, I'm sure you've checked the score already. You probably have spent the money already because you hit the top that can be done. There were 4 incorrect, and that's 4 times $250 or $1,000 coming to you from Dristan and a gift package of all the fine products from the makers of Dristan. Thank you for brightening our evening so spectacularly. Hope you enjoyed it, too. Good night, and God bless you. For tonight, thanks for the last and the good fun panel. Thanks to all of you for being with us. Join us again at the same time next week, and I'll see you tomorrow on the daytime show. In the meantime, speaking for Dristan, don't you forget to tell the truth. Good night.
To Tell the Truth is a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production. has been brought to you by Sleepy's, the non-narcotic sleeping tablet for a good night's sleep. Sleepy's. This is Johnny Olson speaking for To Tell the Truth. This program was recorded.